Hi. Um, so today might be a good day, or it could be one of the worst ones I've had yet. Because today, my Mac Mini will hopefully finally hit the spotlight. And yeah, this is a late 2012 model Mac Mini. It has, I think it was a third gen Core i5 running at 2.5 gigahertz. It's got 8 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig SSD. And I'm going to attempt something pretty crazy. So, because these older Intel Macs are highly versatile when it comes to running operating systems, I'm going to attempt to put 4 different operating systems on it: macOS Monterey, Windows 7, Debian Linux, and FreeBSD. Which I've never actually used FreeBSD before on real hardware. It's kind of redundant because macOS is based on BSD, but I'm pretty sure they're not compatible, so whatever. And I'm going to do this in style. First of all, I have an external hard drive that you can't really see. That if I could pan the camera down just a little bit, you would see an external hard drive I have. I'm going to install all the operating systems just off of that one disk. And I'm also, because the Mac doesn't officially support Monterey, I will also be trying to use a OpenCore Legacy Patcher to boot all the operating systems. And I've not had very good experience with OpenCore in the past, but hopefully things will work out a little better. So let's get the setup going. Plug some stuff in. Now swap my accessories from my main computer to the Mac, because I only have one. Really wish I had a KVM switch, but we're just gonna switch over. And there's the bong. A classic bong. So yeah, right now I have macOS Catalina installed on this. And that is a bit too bright. Let me see if I can... Yeah, there you go. Make it darker so you can see the screen better. And I'm going to enter my password while having to work awkwardly around the chair. So yeah, right now this is running Mac OS Catalina, and we're just gonna stop dilly-dallying and get this out of the way. So the first thing we need to do is download OpenCore Legacy Patcher. Welcome to Mac OS Catalina. No, I do not need the tour. OpenCorePatcher.pkg. I think this is the best picture I'm going to get from this phone. I don't have a proper capture card with me, so this is the best quality you're going to get. Okay, that is done downloading. Writing files, and I'm going to grab the external hard drive. I love that makes the old iPhone text message sound whenever something finishes installing. Okay, let's plug in my hard drive. And no, I do not want to use Time Machine. Okay, I should go to Launchpad, and there's OpenCore Patcher. Now I think all I need to do is select Create macOS Installer, and I'm going to use... yeah, let's do Monterey. And that's going to take a bit. Okay, it's done extracting the macOS installer. Let's see if we can create one. Install macOS Monterey. Yes, I would like to. And immediately I notice a problem. I can't just put it on one partition. I think I have to cheat here. Hang on a second. Okay, Monterey. I need to open a terminal, and the command is contents, resources, create install media tac volume / Mac, which should be the HFS partition on my external hard drive right here. To continue, we need to erase the volume at /volume/Mac. Yes, I would like to erase it. An error occurred extracting the disk. Okay. That's inconvenient for me. Error erasing the disk. Fine. I will erase this hard drive. Just as generic. We'll wait for that to write. No, off, Time Machine. Oh, I might have fucked up the install already, but because the Mac auto-mounted this stupid little... Well, whatever. Let's wait a few minutes and see if this moves any further.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Well, it's been about 2 minutes and it hasn't moved an inch, so I'm gonna assume that the installer process is hanged. Review a log file. Well, this isn't really any useful for me. Oh, there we go. It's writing the next chunk. No, you freaking piece of sh... Okay, I thought it stopped for a bit, but it's going. It's going.
A few moments later.
Okay, that took barely any time at all. Now let's install OpenCore. And I'm going to install it to disk 2. I'm going to install it to the USB drive, and I think we are good to begin the installer process. So I'm just going to... Actually, I'm going to shut down. Hit the power button. And hold down the Option key as soon as I hear the chime. Or I guess the... No. This keyboard's a little wonky. It doesn't always initialize correctly every time. I don't have an Apple keyboard, so it's the Alt key here. Try this again. Power button. Hold down the Option key. No, it's not initializing fast enough. It always wants to boot to macOS. Okay, fine. I can do this a different way. Startup disk. Well, that's useless for me. Let me swap some plugs around. Try this on the right. Try this again. Holding down Option. Okay, it actually worked this time. I just swapped some things around. Okay, we need to select EFI boot. And we're going to boot to install macOS Monterey. Is the Apple. Crank down the exposure so you can see this better. Okay, here we are. Wow, this is a very smooth experience right here. Okay, now we need to go to the disk utility. View, show all devices. Format this as APFS. Call it Macintosh HD. Okay, erase process is complete. Now I need to partition this. What the f... I broke the thing. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to restart again. Okay, well now that Catalina's gone, it should just auto-boot to the installer. And yep, it did. Okay, let's try this again. Let's use the disk utility. And we are going to partition this. Add partition. Fine, we'll do HFS plus for now. And oh my god, using the disk utility for this is going to be so stupid. You know what? I'll just boot to gparted and we'll just partition the disks from there. Well, the most critical thing we need to do is create a new partition. And we'll just create an untitled HFS volume. It's, 187. That way, in case gparted has any problems with recognizing APFS, we can just delete the partition and create a couple new partitions. So we're going to continue on to install macOS Monterey. Do we have Wi-Fi? Yes, we do. Okay, let's just connect to Wi-Fi real quick. Yes, I agree to your license agreement. I'm going to install this to Macintosh HD. Now I'll wait for that to install. Please tell me that my Mac isn't tweaking. I think it might be applying the post-installation root patches right now. Still at 98%. There's the chime again. Oh. Oh. Oh my god, this thing actually freaking worked. Holy shit. I tried to get this to work like 3 years ago, and I couldn't. And now it works this time. What the fuck? Oh my god, this thing actually works. No, I don't want to configure accessibility settings. Sure, we can connect to Wi-Fi. And, hello? Oh, it's not letting me hit continue. Oh. It just took a bit to set up the Wi-Fi. I just needed to be patient. Yeah, there you go. No, I do not want to migrate. Sure, let's sign into my Apple ID. Okay, we're signing in with Apple. And there you go. Okay. Let's do this one. And, okay. Use full name, virtual name, account name, MTVMB, password.
"12 seconds later.
Creating account. It shouldn't take super long. Come on, please. Oh no, not iCloud. Let's not use iCloud keychain. The internet was so fast before, now it's freaking slow. Comcast. No, I do not need location so no fucking oh my god. Nope. Dude. Okay, disable location services. Closest city, Chicago. No, let's not share Mac Analytics with Apple. And I do not need screen time insights. Dark theme. If only you knew the power of the dark side. And there you go. Your Logitech device cannot be identified and will not be usable until it is identified. Okay, this is a North American keyboard, and here we are. Yeah, this is macOS Monterey. Let's see what it thinks this thing is. Oh no, it doesn't even change the model identifier. It's still Mac Mini 6.1. That's amazing. Sure, let's install OpenCore to the main hard drive. Okay, disk 0. EFI. And there we go. Okay, now we're going to shut down. And if you don't mind me, I'm going to charge this phone because it's running low on battery. Okay, so while I was waiting for my phone to charge, I took a break and ate lunch. And prepared the hard drive to install the other operating systems. But also, I installed Puyo Puyo Puzzle Pop. Now, this is the main reason why I wanted to install something newer than Catalina, because I've really been wanting to try Puyo Puyo Puzzle Pop. And now you guys get to see, as well as me, if this game will actually work on this late 2012 Mac Mini. So let's go ahead and launch it. Yo, it actually boots up. Well, I was not expecting that, but it actually boots up. It actually boots up. You know, I cannot believe this game actually works. Hey! No, skip the tutorial, I already know how to play the game. Okay, it's gonna be a little awkward to have a Puyo battle here while I'm trying to see how well this game runs. Look at me dropping frames left and right. Oh, oh my god, that just dropped an input. This is so bad. Nope. Ow. This does not run super well, but it works. I cut my chain again. Hey, wow, great frame rate. Yeah, it's very clear that this game is not gonna run well in 1080p. Choose a nickname. Choose which players can see your activity. Friends only. Hit done. Okay. Okay, can I change the resolution at all? Okay, graphic settings. Okay, I can. Let's lower the resolution a bit. Okay, this runs a little better. Oh, the game locks my cursor. Of course it does. Put this in full screen then. So I can get this to run at a lower resolution, but yeah, I'm surprised the game even works at all. But let's stop goofing around now and install Windows 7. Okay, so let's shut down now. Okay, I can boot from VToy EFI, and that seems good. Let's boot from Windows 7. Well, I tried to boot it, but apparently it doesn't work. First, we need to partition the disk. Okay, let's go with default settings into RAM. Yeah, we need to partition the disk so we can install all our other operating systems. Okay, so we'll boot if I use the native bootloader, but not through OpenCore. Continue to start X using gparted automatically. There we go. Now, first thing I'm going to do... Oh, it actually does recognize it as APFS. I'm going to delete this partition, then create a new 60 gigabyte partition, which I will format as NTFS. And then I'm going to create another 50 gigabyte partition, formatted as ext4, and this will be for Linux. Actually, let's make it a little larger. Let's do 56 gigabytes. Then I'm going to create a 4 gigabyte partition for swap space. And finally, one more partition, which I'm going to leave unformatted, and this will house the FreeBSD installation. So now we're going to have 6 partitions on this SSD, divided pretty evenly too. So yeah, now let's reboot. And shut down, actually, because I have to hold down the Option key again. I don't know if either of my Windows 7 ISOs actually support EFI, either of the ones I've loaded on here. First, let's try the all-in-one. Now let's do a WinBoot. Okay, no, this ISO does not support EFI. I think the disk needs to be in an MBR scheme for it to be recognized by the Mac as Windows. Let's try this other ISO. I don't even think you can install from a WinBoot. Okay, this other Windows 7 ISO does support EFI. Oh. Never mind. It just crashed. Give me a moment while I repartition my disk.
2 hours later.
Okay, that took way longer than it needed to get everything re-downloaded again. Mostly because my NAS was being a doozy and SMB4K was being a piece of shit. But I have repartitioned my hard drive, so I should be able to just boot Windows 7 on it. Okay, there we go, we got Windows. I'm hoping that I'll be able to actually boot Windows from OpenCore. Windows is loading files. Okay, we're starting Windows. And here we are, Windows 7. Now let me double check that partitions are set up correctly. Actually, I think we might just be able to install it like we normally would. Pretty sure this is running in 1024x768. Although the Mac is just upscaling it to 1080p. Oh, I forgot. These are 32-bit versions of Windows. Yeah, these will only be able to access up to 4 gigs of RAM, so I would really like a 64-bit version of Windows. More waiting!
Later.
Okay, so I've gotten another Windows 7 ISO that is 64-bit. And I'm going to choose Windows 7 Home Premium. And the reason for this... Okay, custom. I think this one is... Oh, yep, Partition 3. Because that's the only one which is actually reporting a free space. And now it's going to proceed through the Windows installation. And I have a USB 3 hard disk and an SSD, so hopefully this should go super fast. Alright, the Mac is rebooting now, and wow, that installation was super quick, the first phase at least. That was literally, what, like 4 minutes? Wow, that was crazy. And boom. Here we are in the Windows 7 OOBE, and I'm just gonna set this up right quick. Okay, the computer name is Cyanide. And I actually do have a Windows 7 Home Premium product key sitting right in front of me. So I'm going to type that in right quick. Okay, let's install important updates only. Central time, just automatically, why not? And we're in. But we're not done quite yet because I do need to install the drivers. Yeah, no Wi-Fi. And also, no sound. So I actually do need to boot back into Mac OS so I can download the Boot Camp drivers. Now, if I remember correctly, all I need to do is just go to the Boot Camp Assistant. Just need to open up the Boot Camp Assistant, and then I need to go to Action, and then download Windows Support software. Save as Windows Support, and I'm going to save it on the data partition. Now, hopefully this is the right drivers, but given we're running on a quote-unquote unsupported operating system, not sure if this will actually download the correct drivers.
Later.
Okay, well, apparently the Boot Camp Assistant didn't want to download the drivers, but I did find some Windows 7 drivers on Apple's website. I'm just going to put this on the USB. Put this on the USB. The f***? Put this on the USB. Damn it! Oh, it lets me write to the FAT partition, but not to the NTFS partition. Apparently macOS can't write to NTFS. Who knew? But apparently it can write to NTFS when it's over Samba. Whatever. We have the drivers. Now they're on the USB drive, so that I can just restart. And I do actually have to hold down the Option key so I can pull up the boot picker and let it boot to Windows. Okay, there we go. Here's Ventoy. Let's run setup. Oh, fun. The size of setup.exe is 666 kilobytes. Lovely. Just gonna wait for that to install. Broadcom Wireless. Yeah, that's gonna be an issue when I try to install Debian. Because the Broadcom Wi-Fi cards in these things do require non-free firmware to operate on Linux. Which I have on the hard drive already. I have come prepared. Sound's working. I heard the hardware insert sound, but it was very quiet because the speaker on this thing isn't particularly loud and I don't have speakers. External speakers, rather. And there we go. Now I need to restart. And there we go. Oh, why is the keyboard lagging now? Oh my god. Didn't hear the startup sound, which means it went through HDMI. Oh, yeah. I love Windows 7. That's why I chose to install it. But yeah, let's connect to Wi-Fi. This is a home network. And there you go. We're online. So yeah, this is Windows 7. It's beautiful. That's why I chose to install it. Again, this is Windows 7. I love Windows 7. We even got Windows Media Center here. And, okay. Speakers. There you go. Let's hear that. Oh my god. I have to go into sound settings. Okay. Hardware and sound. Sound. Speakers. Set default. Yeah, there you go. Now let's hear that. Oh, yeah, the Windows Media Center sound. But yeah, that's enough of Windows 7. Let's get straight on to installing Linux. Now, Ventoy can be a little flaky here, especially when running in EFI mode, but I think this will work. Okay, got the Mac version, boot in Grub 2 mode. Oh, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna have to boot it in BIOS mode again. Or do I? That's why I have two ISOs for Debian, just in case one didn't work. I know Ventoy can be a bit flaky. And, okay, there we go. Okay, advanced options, let's do an expert install. Because I ain't a wuss. Okay. Choose language. English, United States, locale. Sure, let's enable Japanese. But leave the default locale at English, United States. Okay, let's configure the keyboard. American English. Mount the installation media. Auto detection successful. Okay. Load installer components. We don't need all this. Now let's detect network hardware. Some of your hardware needs non-free firmware files to upgrade. Yes, let's load this from removable media. And it doesn't work. This is why I chose expert install. Okay, so I'm going to drop to a shell here and see if I can copy the firmware over. Is there LSBLK? Nope. I think it was... Okay, it's going to be SDB. Yeah, SDB3. It doesn't support NTFS. Okay, let's try this. Dev mapper SDB1. I can't mount. Why isn't it letting me mount? Keeps complaining about invalid argument. Oh, that's just great. Freaking great. I guess I can just install without an internet connection and then copy the firmware over once the install is completed. Let's just keep going. Okay. Do not configure the network at this time. And I still need a host name. I'm just going to set cyanide. Okay, setup. I do not want to allow login as root. Let's configure the clock. Let's use NTP. Central time. Now let's detect disks. Partition disks. Drop to a manual configuration. Use as ext4 file system. Format the partition. Mount point / and I think this is good. Now the ESP, which has been auto-detected. Now let's format the swap partition. Use as swap area. Format the swap area. And I think that's good. So let's finish partitioning. Yes, I want to write the changes. Now let's install the base system. And from here, wow, that is going very quickly. Let me see if I can focus. Okay, can make it a little better. But not much better. It's not that readable. It's not terribly readable. Yeah. I hope to upgrade my setup eventually. Kernel to install, let's just use the default. Let's set this to targeted, because I don't want a huge init RAM FS. Okay. Now let's configure the package manager. Let's continue without a network mirror for now. So Select and install software. This is going to be a very short step since we don't have Wi-Fi. Sure, let's turn on unattended upgrades. No, I do not want to participate in the popularity contest. And we're just going to install the standard system utilities. Now let's install Grub, or at least try to install Grub. Oh, I do not want to force the install to removable media because that would overwrite OpenCore. Sure, let's try this anyway, even though I know it's not going to work. Looking for other operating systems. Yes, I want to run OS Prober. Now let's finish the installation. The system clock is not set to UTC. Now we're going to reboot, and now I have to boot back to macOS because Grub is not installed to the correct path. I need to bless. Oh, never mind, it actually worked! I think that may have overwrote OpenCore, though. Let me see if I can... Well, that's so weird, it just booted to Debian automatically. I think the NVRAM update actually worked, which is crazy, but... Yeah, I'm gonna need to install Refit. But right now, if I want to boot to Debian, I have to bless Grub. I'm gonna have to reinstall Debian, aren't I? Real great. Probably would have been better to create the EFI partition beforehand. So that's what I'm going to do.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, so I reinstalled Debian, this time with a separate EFI system partition. So hopefully this works. Hey, it actually works this time. Okay, good. Let's log in. And here we go. Oh, we're online. That's great. I do need to comment this out. Debian Trixie up. There we go. And yeah, we're online. So yeah, I have to admit, I cheated just a little bit. See, I grabbed another flash drive I had lying around. It's a 2GB one I got from school. And I actually used that flash drive to load the firmware into the Debian installer so that I could actually get Wi-Fi working. First thing I'm going to do is install some software. First I need to update the system. And this is gonna take a bit because I don't have the faster driver yet. I will install it after I reboot though. And there we go. You know what, I think I'm gonna finish setting this up later. I intended this Mac to be used as my server ever since I got my new main computer. I guess I'll just set this up later. I hate how SBIN is not in path by default on these Debian systems. Whatever, I can set it up later. Let's just install FreeBSD. Now this one will be quite a treat because I've never actually run FreeBSD on real hardware before. So any quirks I notice will definitely be seen here. Ooh, I'm probably gonna need to boot this in BIOS mode. Yeah, I need to boot it in BIOS mode. Hopefully it doesn't overwrite the Windows partition, or at least lets me boot from Windows. Oh yeah, look at all these boot options now! Boot installer. This looks like macOS when booting in verbose mode. At least it kinda does. Oh cool, the mouse is working. Set the keyboard layout. United States of America. Set a host name for this machine. Cyanide. Yeah, let's do this. Manual disk setup. Oh my god, there's so much stuff here. Wait, can I just tab over? Okay, I can tab over. Oh, it detected the free space automatically, so... okay, mount point slash, and we're gonna call this FreeBSD. This partition scheme requires a boot partition. Yeah, let's make one. Oh, nope. Okay, delete this image, and we'll create a new one. Revert. Revert and exit. Let's do partition. Okay, it automatically partitioned the free space, which is good. Oh, look at there's 9 partitions on here. Oh my god, this is so silly. Okay, yep, this is the full partition setup here. Let's hit F to finish, and let's commit. Extracting distribution files. Can't unlink already existing. Changing local password for root. Please select a network interface to configure, and of course it doesn't have to frickin'. Okay, this hardware clock is not set to UTC. Local time zone is America. Where is the frickin' thing? Oh, United States of America. Okay. Central. Yes. It is indeed the 9th of June 2025, and it is 5:35. NTPD and Power D. Clear TMP. You can disallow trace destructive mode, which... Oh, high jails. Yeah, this looks good. Probing devices. No package. Okay, let's add a user. I am definitely not making the user password the same as the root password. Exit. I'm pretty sure this thing also needs B43 firmware. This is, okay, DA0S3. And apparently this doesn't support NTFS, but we'll try anyway. Yeah, doesn't support NTFS. Not surprising. Okay, let's reboot. And let's see all our boot options here. Would be funny if there's two options. No, there's... Well, that's inconvenient for me. I mean, it does recognize some of these devices as Windows. So I probably need to try to reinstall FreeBSD in EFI mode. Which means I can't really use Ventoy because that doesn't work. If I boot to Windows here... Oh goody, it destroyed the boot sector, of course. Get missing operating system error. So yeah, more fixing for me to do. Yippee! Oh my god, this thing is relentless. Startup repair can not repair this computer automatically. Let's see what it's detected. System volume on disk is corrupt. Windows has checked the file system and found no problems. Let's try this again. Nope. Didn't work. Bootrec, fix boot. The volume does not contain a recognized file system. Okay, I can fix MBR. I can fix MBR. Maybe that's enough. Nope, it still says missing operating system. Oh, I need to reinstall Windows.
Okay, at this point, I'm sure you've noticed many things I've done wrong and are going to the comment section to point it out. Well, you don't need to, because I've noticed my mistakes too. Really, this experiment was primarily a learning experience for me, and I don't want to spoil the rest of the video, so let's just skip to the part after I reinstalled Windows 7.
Okay, you know what? I've got Windows 7 reinstalled, and I've decided I'm done with this for the day. I'm done filming this for the day. I'm gonna figure out how I can get FreeBSD installed without breaking everything else later.
The next day.
It's the next day, and literally right as I was getting everything ready, I checked the FreeBSD website and saw that they had put out a new release. So I got that ready, and unfortunately, I am going to have to use a separate USB key here to install FreeBSD because it's just not going to work through Ventoy on a Mac. I am aware that Ventoy doesn't exactly work all that well on a Mac. I've tried to use it to the best of my ability, but ultimately stuff like this is just going to happen sometimes. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually boot into Debian because I want to install Refit, or Refine rather, which should be at least a bit more versatile than OpenCore. Now let me check, are we online? No, we are not online. And DHCP-CD definitely isn't installed. But WPA supplicant is. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and install DHCP-CD from my hard drive. Oh right, I forgot. I forgot to copy the debs onto the other partition, so I think I'm just going to switch back to the B43 module. Oh my god, this keyboard does not want me to work away from the desk. Yeah, this one is working better. Okay, we can make this work. Okay, I'm gonna install DHCPCD, and I'm going to. You know what? I'm not gonna need this mouse for now. We can just sit it aside. Frickin' System D always fucking up the interface names. Can't just do WLAN 0. I have to do frickin' whatever that is. There we go. I'm going to install Refind. Let's not do an automatic install. We want to install to SDA6. So let's remount the EFI partition rewrite. Now let's do sudo refind install -- default dev SDA6. Okay. Let's see if this will work. Oh, and while I'm at it, I'm gonna uninstall grub. Okay, let's see if this will work. Oh, nope, grub is still installed. So let's try this again. Drop to a root shell. Yeah, let's delete grub and see if it'll boot from Refind now. Or boot to Refind at least. Okay, there we go. And wow, look at all the... Oh my god. All these boot options. Look at all these boot options. It's so silly. Now that we're in Refind, let's actually unplug my hard drive and plug in my USB with FreeBSD on it. Hopefully it will auto-detect. I probably need to reboot, don't I? Probably could have just pressed Ctrl-Alt-Delete, but whatever. Okay, no name. Boot fallback bootloader from EFI sys. And there we go, FreeBSD. With our nice little daemon in the middle. And of course the screen doesn't initialize. I think rather than going through all this chain loading stuff, I think it would be better to just boot directly from the FreeBSD USB. EFI sys. Boot installer. Geez, this looks a lot like macOS in verbose mode. Makes sense because I know macOS is based on BSD. Is that a hostname? Whoops. I hit Control-C on accident. First thing we're going to do is delete these partitions. Commit, then stop. Now let's do auto UFS partition editor. Delete all these partitions. I think I can use the existing EFI partition. So let's create a 54 gigabyte partition. And then I'll create a swap partition. Let's not use the Apple EFI partition. Don't want to risk accidentally deleting OpenCore. No, it only wants to use the first EFI partition. Okay, let's revert. Delete these partitions. Oh, it just set that to the EFI partition automatically. So I have to tell BSD to use this partition. And no, it keeps marking this partition as boot EFI. And now it won't let me delete the other partition either. Okay, that's weird. Well, whatever, we can do with this. Okay, I really hope it didn't delete OpenCore, because I do not want to have to reinstall macOS. Oh, of course! Something always has to go wrong when trying to install FreeBSD. Okay, good, it didn't delete OpenCore. But yeah, I'm gonna have to rewrite the ISO to my flash drive. Oh my god.
5 minutes later.
Alright, let's try this again. I can use the existing partition map, which is good. Verifying checksums of the selected distributions. Of course the distribution fails to install. Okay, you know what? F this. I'm just gonna use version 14.2.
11 minutes later.
Okay, let's try this again, but instead of booting through OpenCore, I'm gonna use the native Apple bootloader. Please work. Oh, now of course it doesn't work. Is this USB drive too slow? I swear to God, the only reason this thing is failing is because the USB drive is too slow. What the frick? What the f is this? It was able to do the installation just fine from Ventoy. Well, I mean, it installed when I could do a legacy boot, but that ended up breaking Windows 7. Let me look something up real quick.
You get the idea.
Okay, let's see if we can use the boot only as how to do a network installation. I doubt this will work, but there's only one way to find out. God, I really wish I had a KVM switch. Don't you fall out of focus like that. See, there's no Wi-Fi here, only Ethernet. Looks like I'm gonna have to do a bit of trickery to get this to work. Okay, but first I'm gonna steal an Ethernet cable. Okay, I got an Ethernet cable, and I've already plugged one side into my computer. I'm just gonna do like a Wi-Fi sharing over Ethernet, so... Okay, now let's go over to my main computer. Jeez, I really wish I had a KVM switch. Let's head over to the network settings. Frick, how do I... Shut up, KDE! Okay, method... Oh, share to other computers. There we go. The connection is activated. Let's use Ethernet. Yes, I would like to configure IPv4. Yes, I would like to use DHCP. I don't think IPv6 configuration is going to work here. Okay, here's a resolver configuration. I'm just going to add an alternate DNS server as all ones. Which site shall we use? Let's do the main FTP server. Okay, now it's working. What the frick? Why? It is not 5:45 a.m. Sure, let's go ahead and install the FreeBSD handbook. Okay, let's reboot and see if this works. Should probably hold down the Option key. Okay, Refine did detect FreeBSD. That is good. And it's booting. Hey, it works. Let's go. Okay, I'm gonna do a root login. Yes, it actually works. Let's do a dtrace panic. It freaking works. Let's go, man. Well. So yeah, let's see how we can boot every operating system now. We're not done just yet. Oh, it actually did. The startup disk was changed. Have to go back and manually specify open core. And yeah, here's all our boot options. We have open core, we have Windows, we have Debian, we have okay, let's exit Refined. So yeah, let's boot all the operating systems just to make sure they're all working. Okay, let's boot Macintosh HD through OpenCore, and it works. I'm probably gonna have to change the startup disk again. But yeah, here we go. This is macOS Monterey. We can open up About This Mac if this thing will load. Yep, there we go. I'm gonna restart. And I'm gonna boot to Windows. Okay, legacy chain loading does work through OpenCore. Oh yeah, Windows is loading. And we can log in, and we have Arrow and all that jazz. Even installed a few applications yesterday while I was playing around with this. Select location for the network. Yeah, this is a home network. I forgot I had the Ethernet cable still plugged in. But yeah, here's Windows 7 in all of its glory. And we have a 4.9 system rating. And we can boot to Debian. It's still a very minimal Debian installation for now. We can install Fast Fetch. There you go. Yep, it is indeed Debian. And finally, we can boot to FreeBSD. Okay. Does this have Fast Fetch? This does have Fast Fetch, okay. Yep, there you go. FreeBSD. And yeah, this project was a success. I'm actually surprised. So yeah, now you guys get to stare at this blank screen while I do my outro message. Thank you guys for watching.